Hello, welcome to LJG Sports. So, according to a new report that I saw the other day, the Texans are down to 3 players in this draft with their 25th overall pick. So, the Texans are looking at 3 different players to pick at 25, and those players are Kelvin Banks Jr., Tyler Booker, and Josh Connerly. All offensive linemen, and it would make sense because it seems like that is the biggest need for the Texans coming into this draft is the offensive line. Yeah, we added a bunch of pieces, but a bunch of pieces also left. Excuse me, and we definitely, I would say, need more help at the offensive line position. We have a lot of guys who can play multiple positions, like Titus Howard, like Ed Ingram. I actually don't think Ed Ingram can play tackle. There's another guy we got. It wasn't LaDainian Tomlinson either. There's another guy we got who can play multiple positions. People like Drew Scruggs who can play center, guard. Jared Patterson, center, guard. So we definitely have pieces who are versatile and who can be decent, but I feel like we definitely need to add. So first thing that I noticed about this list is there's no Josh Simmons in this list, which is interesting because I feel like he would be someone that the Houston Texans would want to draft at 25. And it's possibly the article suggesting that possibly the Houston Texans are assuming that Josh Simmons will be gone at this point. If that's the case, then it makes sense, or maybe they're concerned with his knee injury. With that being said, I feel like Banks, Connerly, and Booker are the 3 picks the Texans should make at 25. I would put Josh Simmons in there too. And unless another, like a wide receiver like Emeka Egbuka drops down to 25, those are the guys I think the Texans should seriously consider at 25. Kelvin Banks, Josh Connerly, Booker, Josh Simmons, and Emeka Egbuka. And honestly, if I had a preference, I don't know if I have a preference with any of them. Obviously, for the offensive line, I think Josh Simmons is low-key a risky pick just because you don't know how he's going to come off from the knee injury. But if he didn't have the knee injury, he honestly might be he probably would have been one of the top tackles / hybrid tackle guards taken in this draft. So he definitely has upside. I feel like Booker is a safe pick in the interior line, but he can only play interior. He's not someone like Banks or Connerly who both play tackle, but are possibly projected to play guard. So I would say overall, I like the Banks and Connerly picks the most. Booker and Josh Simmons would be the tier later, and then Emeka Egbuka. Even though it would seem like it would be a steal at that pick, I just really feel like the Texans need help at offensive line. So I really like, if this report is true that it's down to Banks, Connerly, and Booker, I'm definitely happy with that. I feel like Texans should go Connerly or Banks because, again, the Texans, they have pieces on this team that can play multiple positions, or on this offensive line, I should say. So for me, anyway, it'd be important to get someone who can play tackle or can also play guard because you bring more, it just adds another dynamic of competition and flexibility to this roster. Because right now we have guys like Titus Howard, who can play tackle and guard, Cam Robinson, who will probably play tackle. We got guys like Blake Fisher, who probably will play tackle, might put him at guard. Drew Scruggs and Jared Patterson, who can play guard center. And then you have Ed Ingram, Laken Tomlinson, excuse me. We also have Trent Brown. I forgot we got him too. Trent Brown, I believe, is just a tackle. But yeah, so I think Texans should get one of the hybrid guys. So whether it's Josh Connerly, whether it's Kelvin Banks Jr. I feel like those are the 2 picks the Texans should make at 25. Hopefully one of them is available at that point. And then again, you have flexibility. Maybe during training camp, you notice that Trent Brown and Cam Robinson are playing really well and up to their potential at the tackle spot. At that point, you don't want to be restricted, and so you'd have Titus Howard move in, and then you'd have someone like Kelvin Banks or Josh Connerly move into guard too. And then on the flip side, let's say Titus Howard is playing really well at that left tackle position, and Cam Robinson and Trent Brown and Blake Fisher are underperforming. Laken Tomlinson and Juice Scruggs or Ed Ingram are playing well at the guard spot, and Jared Patterson is playing well at the center spot. You would need another tackle, and then Josh Connerly and Kelvin Banks hopefully can fill that void. So I like to have versatility within the offensive line, especially with the rebuilding that we are doing to it, turning it over completely. So yeah, if the Texans are down to these guys, Booker, Josh Connerly, and Kelvin Banks Jr., I really hope that that is the case. And I also saw a report just recently, actually, that saying that it may only be down to two, that it's Kelvin Banks and Booker, which makes sense. It seems like Nick Cassera likes the SEC guys. But just for me, if that's the case, it should be Kelvin Banks for sure. And if Kelvin Banks isn't there at 25, I would rather take Josh Connerly or even a Josh Simmons over Booker, just because Booker is just going to be a guard. And low-key, I feel like it's also a little reminiscent of the Kenyon Green pick, and we know as Texan fans how that pick turned out. We ended up getting C.J. Gardner-Johnson for him, though, so, we'll take that. But, yeah, let me know what you think, if you disagree or agree with these picks that apparently the Texans have narrowed it down to. Let me know who you think the Texans should draft with the 25th pick overall. Is this someone listed in this video? Is this someone not? If you had to rank the 5 prospects talked about in this video from 1 to 5, Josh Connerly, Kelvin Banks, Booker, Simmons, and Emeka Egbuka. Rank them down in the comments if you'd like. Tell me what you disagree or agree with, and I'll see you on the next video.